Good morning, boys and girls. Today's objective is solving problems using the skill interpret the remainder. So let's look at the following problem. I'll read it to you. There are 95 people with reservations for a guided trip on the Nenana River in Denali National Park in Alaska. Each raft can hold 6 people. How many rafts are needed for the 95 people? How many rafts will be full? How many people in the will be in a raft that is not full? So there are 3 questions. First question is, 1, how many rafts are needed for the 95 people? The second question is, how many rafts will be full? And then the third part of our objective will be, how many people will be in a raft that is not full? So the first thing I need to do before I begin answering any of these questions here is I need to go ahead and do the math. So clearly we're going to be dividing 6 into 95. And if we remember our steps for division, I first need to look at the highest place value, which is the 9, and I need to decide, can the 6 fit into the 9? And yes, it does. It fits 1 6 into 9. Then I multiply back. 1 times 6 is 6. Then I subtract. 6 minus 9, or 9 minus 6 is 3. Then I bring down that 5. Again, now I determine, does 6 go into 35? And it does. It goes into it 5 times. About 5 6s fit into 35. Whoops. So 5 times 6 is 30. I'm losing some space here. Let's see if I can. There we go. Move up the screen. There we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to kind of have some. There we go. I'll shrink it up there. Perfect. Okay. So let's go back to our division problem. 35 minus 30 is 5. So I have a remainder of 5. So now we have to interpret this remainder, because that's our objective here, is to determine if it's a useful remainder based on the situation and the question. So the first part of the question, we'll go to that right now. Okay. Back to the first part of the question. And the first part of the question said, how many rafts are needed? So remember again that the quotient was, when I divided 6 into 95, I got, and I'll just go ahead and write it, it was 15 remainder 5. So I need to figure out how many rafts are needed. I think to myself, since 15 rafts only hold 90 people, and that's 15 times 6, okay, which is 90. I still have these remaining 5 left over, and you got to keep in mind I can't tell these 5 people, because there's original 95 people. I can't tell them, no, I'm sorry, you can't go rafting. Instead, I want to go ahead and add 1 more raft to the 15, making it a total of 16 rafts. And that takes us to our next part of our question. Okay, so the next part of our questions, is not so much how many rafts are needed, but how many rafts will be full. We already determined that there's going to be 16 rafts needed, because it was 15 remainder 5, bumping up the 15 to 16. Because remember, I don't want to tell those 5 extra people that they don't get to go on a raft. And now we need to determine how many rafts will be full. So in that case, I'm going to drop the remainder, and I can tell you right now that there are going to be 15 rafts that are going to be full for the 90 people. So 15 rafts will be full. And then we're going to the next part of the question, and that's our last question. And the next question is, how many people will be in a raft that is not full? Again, I'll remind you that we did the division problem 6 divided into 95. There's 95 people attending the river rafting trip, and 6 people only go into each raft. We determined that there are going to be 16 rafts total. 15 of the rafts are going to be full, okay? And then 1 raft is simply going to be holding that remainder 5. Okay, this is the 15. And then 1 of the rafts are just going to hold 5 people. So 5 people will be in a raft that is not full. okay? And then 15, boop, of the rafts will be full with 6 people. So go back to our website and go ahead and fill out the form. You're going to have 2 problems where you need to interpret the remainder. If you keep the remainder and add it to the quotient, or you drop it, you'll have to make that decision. Good luck.